A new Quinnipiac University poll shows trouble for Donald Trump in the form of Ted Cruz. Now, according to this new Quinnipiac poll, Ted Cruz is almost nearly statistically deadlocked with the current Republican frontrunner. Now, according to the survey of registered Republican voters, 28 support Donald Trump. Okay, so that's been a pretty good lead. He's been pretty consistent since like the summer. But here comes Ted Cruz with 24%. Remember, this is not an Iowa poll, right? This is not New Hampshire. This is a national poll. In Iowa, Ted Cruz is actually ahead of Donald Trump. And now here he comes nationally. Now, what's interesting about this is that the margin of error for this Quinnipiac University poll is 4 points. 24-28, putting them in a statistical dead heat, if you include that margin of error. Oh no. Donald Trump cannot be happy about this. He cannot be. Now, of course, everybody else is miles behind them. The people who get close are Marco Rubio and Ben Carson. Now, Marco Rubio polls at about 12%, and Ben Carson slid all the way to 10%. So not doing very well, but of course you're still doing better than the rest of the Republican field. Chris Christie, Rand Paul, they're all in the single digits. And then, of course, as you know, yesterday, Lindsey Graham dropped out. And where the hell is Jim Gilmore? Has anybody even ever seen Jim Gilmore? Where's he at? I'm just saying. I'm asking a question. Where's Jim Gilmore? Anyway, back to Ted Cruz. I almost called him Donald Cruz, because it's almost like he's been trying to go out of his way to appeal to Donald Trump voters, and exactly what this article wants to point out. It says Mr. Cruz has been eating into Donald Trump's base of support on several fronts, surpassing him with Tea Party voters and evangelical Christians. Now, anybody who's been following Ted Cruz knows that that's kind of his thing. That's why he's doing so well in Iowa. You've got a lot of evangelical Christians, very religious base in Iowa. And that's who Ted Cruz really appeals to. Now remember, his father, Rafael Cruz, always told Ted Cruz that, well, he is the anointed one. He's the one who's God's chosen to lead America. Is it any wonder, and this guy believes it. Is it any wonder that he's leading among evangelical Christians? It doesn't surprise me at all, and it shouldn't surprise you at all. Now, also, he's gaining on Donald Trump with those who are uneducated or not college educated. I shouldn't say that, because there are plenty of educated people who haven't went to college. So, yeah, it was kind of a dick move. I apologize for that. There's plenty of smart people that haven't went to college. I'm not calling you guys stupid. I'm just saying that with non-college educated voters, Ted Cruz has pretty much taken the lead, or is leading. So, now, the other interesting thing about this is that Ted Cruz also beats Donald Trump with voters that say that honesty is the most important characteristic in a candidate. Well, that makes sense. Donald Trump hasn't said a true thing. I guess the only thing that I've ever given him credit for saying that something that's true is saying that super PACs are a disaster. They are a disaster, and I've given him credit on the show before for saying that, for pointing that out. Now, where he doesn't get credit is that he doesn't actually plan to do anything about super PACs. He just says, I don't use one because I don't need one. I'm a fucking billionaire. What do I need your money for? Yeah, fuck you. I'm not going to kiss your ring, Sheldon Adelson. All right. So, credit given and then credit withdrawn. Hey, if anything, I'm fair. So there you go. Ted Cruz is actually seen as more honest. But see, in my opinion, Ted Cruz is actually more the snake in the grass. He's much more sleazy, he's much more cunning, he's much more calculated. His policy positions are almost just like Donald Trump, except that he's a little bit more quiet about it, and he actually has the ability to introduce legislation. Remember, he's introduced legislation to ban Muslims. He introduces legislation to ban refugees. So that's more dangerous than just Donald Trump's bellicose rhetoric. So, I mean, Donald Trump is loud, but Ted Cruz is much more dangerous. And that's really the thing that's most disconcerting about this new Quinnipiac University poll. Now, we'll see, of course, I mean, the second place spot in the GOP field has been shifting. Now, Donald Trump's led the pack, but then there's Ben Carson, there's Carla Fiorina. Now there's Ted Cruz. Whether or not Ted Cruz has the staying power to be here, well, we're not sure. With that second place spot comes a lot of media scrutiny. And when it comes to Ted Cruz, there's definitely a lot of ammunition there for opponents. So we'll have to see how well this goes. Now, one more piece of information that I thought was very interesting from this. Now, nationally, voters see both Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio as stronger challengers against Hillary Clinton when it comes to a general election. Both are tied in national polls with her. Now, Hillary Clinton beats Donald Trump in a national head-to-head matchup. So that's very, very important. If Republicans that like Trump, and there are a lot, look at that and they go, well, we want to beat Hillary. We want to do everything we can to beat Hillary. We like Trump, but if he's not going to win, then maybe we should support one of the other guys. And Ted Cruz, to me, if I were a Trump supporter, would be the natural choice. And that's why he's doing so well among self-professed Trump supporters. So, if we don't have Donald Trump winning the nomination, we could very well see a Ted Cruz. And as I said before, that's dangerous.